Hey there, welcome back to Coding at Home. Hey there, welcome back to Coding at Home with the Code Hub. I'm Matt with the Code Hub, and today we're going to move on in our Reality Composer escapades, and we're going to use a different type of anchor. So far, we've just used the horizontal anchor type, which has allowed us to add things to the surface of a table or a floor. We've created a little lunar lander game out of our horizontal anchored augmented reality scene. Today we're going to do something even cooler. This is one of my favorite parts of ARKit and augmented reality. We're going to attach something to an image anchor, and we're going to see that there's some real special attributes to this type of anchor. Now, with the image anchor, we are taking advantage of a lot of code and a lot of intelligence that other people have written. What they can do is they can go off and detect, based on an image that we provide, go off and detect that image in the real world. This works particularly well if you have images like this that are pretty clear. You can see we've got a very distinct green book, a red painter's palette, a black microscope, and a blue calculator. And then we've got some other doodles that somebody drew on this paper. Those are excellent images to use because they have a very high contrast, and our camera can pick out the differences between those images and their surroundings very easily. But we're going to see that we can use other things like, say, an image of the cover of this book to maybe pop up some more information or play a little game on top of a book and then move it around in the scene. And RealityKit will actually keep our composed scene all together on that book, no matter where we put it in the real world. So this is huge. There's a ton of stuff that we can do with this. You can make really cool business cards, or you can make interesting book reports on your book. When you go to show it, you could show off a 3D version of a Lego set when you look at the front of a Lego box. But let's stop talking about it and let's get down to actually working on it. So, all right, so we're going to switch over to the iPad. Today we will be all iPad based. I know yesterday we had a little preview of our work on the Mac, so we did a little bit with Xcode. Today is going to be all iPad driven. So as with the last couple of sessions, we're going to be playing with Reality Composer. So I'm going to go open up Reality Composer. And we can see I have my my lunar lander scene here with my horizontal anchor. I have the scene selected, you can see here. And if I had one of the objects selected, I could go and tap on the grid and it would bring up the properties inspector for my scene. You can see we've been using a horizontal anchor this whole time. So I'm going to get out of this reality scene by hitting the back arrow. And I'm going to create a new project now. So I do that by hitting the plus button. And we are, like I said, we have a choice of horizontal, vertical, image, face, and object anchor. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with images today. So we're going to tap on the image option here. Okay, cool. So now our scene looks very like the one before. Instead of a cube, we have this little guy, which is a hexagon, right? 6 sides, maybe? Right. And we have this thing here, which is going to be our image anchor. So first things first, before I do anything else, I'm actually going to name this project. So I'm going to go back to hit the back button. I'm actually going to tap in here on my new project 13. And I'm going to name it something useful. So we're going to call it, let's say, image anchor. We'll spell image anchor right, just so that we know which project is which. So we'll open up our image anchor project. Again, we got to pick our image, our anchor. Right, so here we go. So if we look over here in the properties inspector, this is exactly like we did with the horizontal anchor. We still have different scenes. If I tap this button up here, I'll see that I have different scenes. This is my one and only scene. So I'll tap that button again and hide it. I have the anchor type over here. I can name it over here. So I might say, we'll call this one the book scene, because that'll be the image that we use first. Okay, so book scene. We have scene physics that we can set up again. So objects collide with the plane or nothing. That's the same as the horizontal anchor. We can set the material of the plane. We can set the gravity as well. So pretty much exactly the same. The only difference between this and a horizontal anchor is this image asset selection. So let's try that out. We're going to choose... We're not going to choose that one. We're also not going to choose that one. We're going to move this thing out of the way, and we're going to hit choose. So we need to add an image that we want to have be our anchor in the scene. So let's start out with a simple one. We're actually going to use one of these keynote shapes. So that thing that I held up before is just an object that I had in Keynote. So let's see. If I go back to Keynote, this is the easiest way to create your image assets. And if you have access to a printer, you'll be able to do this one at home. So we'll cancel out of that one. We'll create a new Keynote. Go back to presentations. And let's see, do I have it hanging around anywhere handy? Nope. Let's add a new presentation by hitting the plus button up here. We're just going to pick a basic white one. And now I'm not going to give this any title, so I can actually just delete that. I can say select all, actually, and delete all of those. All I did was tapped on this blank white screen here, and it allowed me to select all. Now, if I'm going to go print this thing out, I can go add a shape, so I would hit the plus button up here. And this is my shapes option here, so I'm going to pick a shape. And I could do any one of these. I could do food. That might be interesting. Symbols. Education. There we go. This is what, now we're talking. Let's pick this calculator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this guy. So my calculator in the sheet there was blue. So I'm going to turn this one blue as well. So I'm going to go up to the paintbrush and just pick blue. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of this so that I have an image. So I'm going to hold down the power button and the home button on my iPad. So take a screenshot. I'm going to tap on that down in the corner, and I'm going to grab the edges here. So what I did was these were way out here, and if I mess up, I can always hit this button down here to undo. So let's do undo. So this is my whole screenshot. I don't want the whole thing because I'm not going to print out the entire screen. I'm just going to, I have my sheet of paper that has this image on it. So if I move in those, if I grab these little handles here, I can shrink the window that I'm actually going to save as an image. So now I have my calculator, and then what I can do is I can go up here and I can save this. Well, I can either save it as an image or I can save it to files. I'm going to save it to files. I'm going to save it somewhere on iCloud Drive, maybe on my desktop, maybe in Documents. And we're going to call, instead of PNG image, I'm going to call it calculator. So done. I'm going to save my calculator image in my Documents folder. So there we go. We're done. It'll ask me if I want to save it to photos, save to files, or delete the screenshot.
So downstairs there's a little chat thing, and someone said that they can't, like, the screen is black.
The screen.
They can't see anything.
Okay, all right. So the screen is black. Interesting. Let's have a quick look. Good heads up. So let's see if the screen is still black. So anyway, I have an option here to save to photos, save to files, or delete screenshot. Well, I've already saved this image, so I'm going to hit delete screenshot. I'm going to exit out of Keynote and go back to Reality Composer now. All right, so now I'm back in my scene. I have my image anchor. I have my object here that's going to appear on it. We'll leave that object for now. We can tweak that later. And now we need to choose an image asset. So I'm going to go over here in my inspector for my scene, and I'm going to pick in the image asset section, I'm going to hit choose. I do see that it's taking a little while to load on Twitch, which is not great. Here, tell you what, let's try stop and stream and we'll start again, and hopefully that'll fix the issue on Twitch. So let's stop this. Okay, all right, let's go stop and we're going to try again.